melanoma skin cancer has been going up over time, exactly in step with the rise in the use of sunscreen. We're getting stronger and stronger, levels of sunscreen with these sun protection factors of like 65, right? When I was a kid, it was like 8 was high, we had like maybe 4 and 8, and now it's like 65. I mean, it's just crazy, the degree of sun protection they're offering. And they've got aluminum in them, which is really toxic. It's going to absorb through the skin. It's going to mess up, actually. The enzyme eNOS gets messed up by aluminum. So when you put aluminum-based sunscreen on your skin, you're messing up the enzymes that would make the cholesterol sulfate. So you're really screwing things up with the sunscreen. But it is true that the sunscreen can deceive you into thinking that you're not burning, and so you stay out too long, right? Because you think, I'm fine. And you don't look like you're burning. You don't get the signals because the sunscreen is blocking them. And I think that may be one way in which the UV becomes more dangerous, because it's really kind of surprising that we're not solving the problem that the sunscreen is supposed to solve, which is to prevent this cancer, right? The whole point of the sunscreen is to prevent melanoma. And it's doing the opposite. I mean, people should know that. It's doing the opposite. The literature tells you that. Pharma has gotten it all so wrong. I just feel like there's almost nothing they're getting right, and all their drugs, all the drugs that they're using to treat depression and anxiety, they're causing all kinds of horrendous symptoms in the people who are taking them. And of course, the opioid drugs that are causing addiction and just huge problems with the prescription drugs. I think pharma is in a really bad place, I feel. Yes, well, the shikimate pathway is not found in human cells. That's correct. And that was the big deal that Monsanto advertised to say this chemical is wonderful because we don't have the pathway. It's a particular enzyme in the pathway that they've singled out as being especially sensitive to glyphosate, which is called EPSP synthase. And that's a critical enzyme in the pathway. When that's broken, lots of things go south. And the plants absolutely depend on that pathway, in part to make all those beautiful polyphenolic compounds that I mentioned earlier. Those things come out of the shikimate pathway. It makes that basic benzene ring that is central to so much of biology. And the output of the shikimate pathway, these aromatic amino acids, those are precursors to a whole bunch of hormones like serotonin, melatonin, melanin, the skin tanning agent. So that's another thing. If melanin is deficient, then you're going to be more sensitive to the sun. And so glyphosate is going to make melanin deficient by virtue of blocking that pathway that provides the precursors to make the melanin. So the melanin, melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, and epinephrine, which is adrenaline, all of those basic hormones, they all come out of the shikimate pathway, as well as thyroid hormone. So we have a lot of issues with the thyroid that I think is also connected to this disruption of the shikimate pathway, and certain B vitamins. So niacin and riboflavin come out of the shikimate pathway, and also vitamin K2. So these are all going to be affected by the disruption of the shikimate pathway in the gut microbiome, which is providing us with these B vitamins. I mean, again, I don't think we realized how much we were depending upon them. We think of the nutrients coming from the food, which is true. And of course, it's also going to be depleted in the foods that are exposed to glyphosate. So we're getting less from the food, but we're also getting less from the microbes. And the microbes are really a major player in supplying us with these critical nutrients. We hadn't appreciated that until we found out that they were broken. And then we started to see these diseases appearing that are connected to deficiencies in these things that the gut microbiome used to supply and isn't supplying adequately anymore.